You're staring at your phone at 11 p.m. Your eyes are burning. And your heart is racing with a list of things you didn't finish today. There's a hamster wheel in your head that starts spinning the second you try to close your eyes, replaying conversations and obsessively forecasting a negative future. We usually call this burnout, and our modern solution is to just try harder or find a better productivity hack. But what if I told you that your exhaustion isn't actually a schedule problem, but a design flaw in how you're approaching your life? To really understand why you feel so depleted, we have to look at Exodus 22:8. In the scholarly practicality of the Bible, this verse isn't a religious hoop to jump through. It's a spiritual X-ray designed to show you what's actually broken beneath the surface. The text says to remember the Sabbath day, to keep it holy, but the Hebrew word behind it is Shabbat, which literally means to cease or to stop. This is where the design flaw comes in. Most of us live in a state of Copiao, a Greek word for exhausting labor that leaves you physically spent and beaten down by fatigue. We are like the builders of Babel, pouring everything into a career or a reputation because we are terrified that we won't matter if we stop. We treat our lives like a Babel project, using manufactured bricks, things we've made with our own hands, to build a tower toward a sense of permanence. But the Bible's surgical logic suggests that you cannot build your way to a name that lasts. You can only receive one as a gift. Think about a guy named Mark, a high-achieving professional who is successful by every earthly metric, but is spiritually dehydrated. Mark follows every rule, but he feels like he's shouting into the wind because his rest is just a temporary pause to refuel for more work. He doesn't realize that his burnout is a symptom of a broken relationship with the Creator of rest. God's solution for Mark isn't a manual on how to get water, but an invitation to the living water. When we ignore the blueprint of the Sabbath, we are trying to operate outside of our own anatomy. The sanctuary in the Bible was a microcosmos designed to show us that God wants to dwell in the center of our camp, not just visit us when we have our act together. Jesus is the ultimate fulfillment of this. He pitched his tent among us so that we wouldn't have to climb a tower to find him. He took the shattered systems of human power and replaced them with a kingdom that doesn't rely on our mighty man's strength. So, how do we fix this design flaw this week? First, you need to identify your Babel project, that specific area where you're hustling to prove you exist. Name it honestly, because you cannot release what you refuse to name. Second, shift your posture from building to receiving. Spend time in the Word, not as a duty, but as an encounter with the living voice that tells you who you are before you do a single task. Third, practice vigilant prayer. This isn't a ritual, but a rhythm of communion where you let every breath be a reminder that you are not the one holding the world together. Burnout ends when you stop trying to manufacture your own name and start resting in the mercy seat of the one who already called you beloved. Your value was settled at the cross, not at your last performance review. If this surgical deep dive into the anatomy of rest was meaningful for you, please subscribe and share this with someone who is currently under a broom tree of exhaustion. Your support truly helps more people discover this architectural way of studying the Bible. And please, leave even a single word in the comments about which part of this design resonated with you most. Hits how others find this conversation. Keep walking in wisdom.